Listen to better music and listen to music better. Welcome to True Tunes at 45 RPM, the short-form version of the ongoing conversation you'll hear on the True Tunes podcast and in the digital pages at truetunes.com. And now your host, John J. Thompson.
I was recently invited back to the Audiofeed Festival in Urbana, Illinois, and after my main talk, I stepped over to what they called the Counterculture Tent to sit down for conversations with a couple of artists and fest attendees. We were able to capture those conversations to present here as 3 45 RPM episodes of the podcast. First, on this episode, we visit with songwriter and artist Gileah Taylor. On the next installment, we will hear from Matt Hammett, formerly of the rock band Sanctus Real, and also a successful solo artist and speaker, but currently also ramping up a new rock band called Low Cloud. And we'll wrap things up with an Ask Me Anything session. Later in this series, we'll bring a little more in-depth presentation of excerpts from my main talk at Audiofeed. I had a very spirited conversation that I dubbed The Sound of Revolution that feels very timely this summer. Although it was my intention to stage it as an audience dialogue, we hit a few technical snags that limited the amount of audience interaction, at least that we could record. We've done our best to rescue a few of those comments and questions. On our first installment, we sit down with Gileah Taylor, one of my favorite indie artists over the last several years. As much as I have enjoyed her recordings, I had never had a chance to see her perform in concert before Audiofeed. So let's head out to a couch under a tent on a hot July day and catch up with one of the more elusive artists of our day. We are here on the grounds at Audiofeed Festival. Enjoy all the ambient. We're in the Subculture Tent, and I am joined by Gileah Taylor here.
Hello.
And you're going to hear all kinds of words. It's like a coffee shop tent, so you're hearing all the ambient noise of people getting coffee on a 100-degree day.
Whew.
Yeah, that's a commitment. Well, Gileah, thanks for taking some time here.
Thank you. Man, thank you so much for asking me. It's like a huge compliment.
Why don't you kind of walk us briefly through Gileah and the Ghost Train was the first thing I remember of you as an artist. Is that really your beginning, or you kind of go back?
I had a CD that I produced by myself. My dad helped a little bit. I recorded it at the church where I grew up. He's a preacher and a musician as well. That was Y2K. And then in 2005, I did a solo record that Chris produced. That was The Golden Plains.
No farewells, no goodbyes, no kisses on the cheek for you, my sleeping friends. You know who I got this from. Gypsy did the same to me as I to you. Oh, the trains, the golden plains. I always take the finest roads when I need. How the joke is,
So you have been an artist. How old were you in 2000? I mean, you're a kid.
I was like, that was the year I turned 20.
Okay.
Y2K.
So walk us through the DNA, the creative kind of concept that was coming together as that project. What made that unique in the over?
So I was my friends I grew up with, Ava Quigley Griffith. Now she sang with me and played guitar. My friend Kevin Warner played electric. He was in the band 238. Was one of the founding members of that band. So he joined me for the Ghost Train record. And Alan Salmon, a producer friend out of Nashville at the time, he produced that record and then ended up doing the EPs of 2010 as well.
Right.
You know, I really have to travel back in time to remember the Ghost Train days. I just remember that Ava one time took a picture at Target. There was like a Lego set of the Ghost Train, and I was like, yes! But we didn't buy it, so I'm kind of bummed about that. Should go on eBay at some point and find it.
Don't look down, we'll get this right. Eventually, we'll make things right. Don't look down, we'll get this right. Eventually, we'll make things right. Ooh.
And then you said that having kids, was that slowing down the process, or was it
No.
informing the process?
No, it was just more like, well, I did that, now I need to do this again.
Different kind of creativity.
I get bored. So, you know, it's the baby, and then, well, that baby's a few years old. Let's do a record.
How many kids do you have?
We have 3. And the oldest, they're 19, 16, and 13 now.
Okay.
So,
That's
yeah.
great. So then the Slow Parade record was different. Like,
Yeah.
it had a totally. So tell us about that, and maybe what's one song on that record that to you? I mean, it was one of my favorite records. I gushed about it, but tell me what is your favorite song when you think back on that.
Yes, I love Dream Explorer the most, I think, because it's the most dreamy and it's just like, just has a flair. But Chris had found, had a connection somehow with the Klein brothers from, they're from a little bit north of Nashville, Gallatin. But so Gideon is the strings brother, and then he does all that type of stuff. Gabe does like drums, keys, so he's in that world. And to me, Dream Explorer, the sound of it was just like, I heard that and I was like, oh, this is it. I was just so happy. But what's funny about me is I'm more focused on the song and the lyric. So when he said, like, why don't you record with them? I was like, okay, well, that means I have to be kind of committed and married to whatever their sound already is, because I end up taking on the sound of my producer, like every time. So I lean into the production, or the production that they already do best.
Sure.
And I love that one.
Open eyes in the moonlight, walking in it, but oh so slow. A quiet flash of midnight to bring me, hope. Am I out in the sweetness? Tears streaming, heart seeing. Is the grass rising up as if to catch me soft? Open eyes at midnight, reaching for you, but oh so slow. You come to meet me with a flashlight to bring me hope.
So then the new project is an EP.
Yeah.
So let's walk through that. Tell us about where are you at now?
So that's the same sound.
Right.
But that is like, I think just because of my age, I just was like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on in my life right now. Like, I felt like very untethered in the writing of that. And that was last fall. I like wrote the 3 songs. One of them I'd had for a while. I wrote them and then I went and recorded them. And then I was like, now I don't even know what's happening. And I remember I got the email to play this festival. And I was at this point where I was like, I'm just going to say yes. And so I said yes. And I'll tell you what, if you told me this time last year I'd be here talking to you or playing, I'd be like, no. Don't want that. Scary.
Really?
Yeah, would not have been able to handle it.
Why is it scary?
Well, it was scary because of where I was. And so when I got all those feelings out in the EP where I was saying, like, I don't know who I am right now, I kind of thought something would be happening. There's a lot of all my truest feelings are in those songs. So, but of course now it's funny that it happened so fast, writing it, recording it, putting it out. Very, for me, like a compact process. And so now I'm already on the other side of it where I'm like, I do know who I am. And like God has answered so many questions for me, for Chris, for us, but my whole life has changed dramatically.
Wow. Since
like this time last year. Like I said, I would have been frightened to be sitting here. And now I'm like, oh, this is like cool. I'm excited. Thank you, God. But yeah, it's been a crazy year. Let's put it that way.
I've been carrying past inside of me. I've been so sick with it. Rage was blinding me. And I've been hoping that the lives I could have lived are still waiting for me when I find my footing once again. And if I'm smiling, maybe it means somebody else like me got rid of the shadows from the last century.
Is there an example of anything you would be willing to share? Because you get pretty intimate in these songs. You seem to be telling stories that are kind of veiled a little bit, like, but they're specific, but they're veiled.
Yes.
Is there something you'd be willing to share about that process that would kind of pull a veil back just a little bit or do you want to keep them veiled?
I don't mind talking about it a little bit. I will say that God brought me and Chris and our marriage to a point of a complete and total ending.
Oh, wow.
And he kind of took both of us separately and has worked on us in just a major, deep way, on a level that I always wanted, but I didn't know how to get. I was afraid, and it was like I'd turned from God in a way, and so winter had set in my life for years, and so had he, and then so God has just dealt with us, and so now like the restoration process, it has just been on a level that I never could have imagined.
Wow.
Like a dream that I didn't dare to dream has come true, kind of because of the songs on that EP.
Wow.
I didn't know why I needed to record everything. I didn't know why. I just needed to get it all out, get it done, and then move forward with it. But I did. And meanwhile, God was, using all of these different people and circumstances in both of our lives to restore our relationship, but first with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the most redemptive definition of the word provocative. Like it had to provoke something.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting that that's what you say, because to be completely honest, as I'm listening to them, I'm like, I don't think they're okay.
Yeah.
And so when I walked up and saw you together, I'm like, oh, they are together. Because I don't know how I'm going to ask that question. It's definitely not going to be in an interview. It's going to be privately. But it's amazing and rare to hear about that kind of healing.
I'm glad that you said that, because I was kind of wondering. I was like, do you say that story? Because the truth is, if I was listening to that EP, I would have said, are they okay? Like, what happened? I would have been curious. So I'm happy to answer that in case someone is curious.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And again, all these music journalist words that are so overused that I try not to, they're like my don't use them, but words like haunting.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's haunting, like as a married guy going, ooh, ouch, this one is too close to home. But then I'm like, am I reading into it? It could be metaphorical. It could be about something else, and also I know who you're married to. Yeah. But having so many friends that have gone through those struggles, the majority of people. And when you get, it's sometimes they say, oh, well, once you've been married for a few years, then you get used to it. It's like, no, we've been married 34 years. Yeah. It doesn't get easier.
No.
I just officiated my daughter's wedding last week.
That's amazing.
And I'm telling them as we're up there at the altar, I'm like, if you think that this wedding or getting married is going to fix anything, it's not. It's just opening up opportunities for you to serve somebody else for the rest of your life. It's not. It doesn't fix anything.
There is no bad guy. It was simply the fact that we were both kind of just living in a heaviness, like a sadness, a darkness that we really could not get out of. And instead of turning to God inside the marriage, it did take losing everything to get to the point where we were both desperate enough to say that there's nothing I can do anymore.
Right.
And only God. And he of course, I have a song called Southland with Leam of Earth. When I wasn't looking, you turned my heart towards you. I wasn't thinking of being anybody's love. And almost like, it's funny that I feel like that applies to him and to God. And, could perfectly describe this last season of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't know that you were broken. Yeah, I did, but to be fair, I thought that my self-loathing wasn't made to your despair. You know that I kept on saying you love me still. Didn't know you were never. I don't think that you ever will. I think you only see rivals, and I was unmatched from the start. Hearts are not collector's items, but shattered ones make works of art. I call this one the lonely heart. I don't think that we should be rivals, but somehow we're here and we are. Hearts are not collector's items. Here in the ruins, I guess that they are. They build museums for pieces like ours. Hang this one up, it's called the Lonely Heart.
So as a mom, in a family, what is your life? How does music fit into your life, and how does the rest of your life inform your job as a songwriter and an artist?
We have 3 kids. They're extremely creative, very, very gifted children in a lot of ways, singing and writing. And I just went to Oregon and recorded an EP with my producer friend that's a drummer of Leam of Earth, Gileah Taylor, for Mercy, my 16-year-old. So they all kind of do all that kind of stuff. But they have their own track. In fact, Mercy will write a song and she's not even going to ask me, for help. So I'm like, that's fine. You do you, I've been modeling it all these years. Now you're doing it for yourself. But I think the way my life informs my art is that I'm always, you're always just in the habit of being, and you always have like antenna up. Like, well, that's a pretty thought. That's a pretty phrase. That was a beautiful like meadow this morning that we walked through, right over there somewhere. So all of those things, when you're just living and you're in the habit of being and paying attention, all of that ends up in a song somehow.
I keep it all inside, won't cry. Write it down on paper, seal it up. The candle burning, long time now. Pour the wax and blow it out. My shadows are running free. We don't know where we will be when we wake up. The sky's full with the sun chasing you.
What is it like to work with an indie label? Like, who does what, and what's that? What
I
do
don't-
labels do for artists these days?
Being on Velvet Blue is something like I really wanted. Really for me, I invest quite a lot into all of it. I joke that I pay to play, but really I'm just turning dollars into art, which is kind of cool that you can even do that. So you've got something up here and in here, and you have some money and you can make music. That's just a gift to be able to do that. So I'm happy to, I like to tell the story. I met Jeff at Cornerstone
Oh, gosh.
in like 98, 99, or 2000. I can't remember which couple years I went.
Those are golden years, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I gave him, he's like this tall, like moody looking dude, and he's just kind of like standing there really cool looking.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mr. Cloud, and gave him my demo. But then many years later, in like 2016, I had Songs for Late at Night Volume 2 recorded, and I was like, Dear Jeff, please put out my record. Please, I beg of you. And so he did, and then, we've been working together ever since. But just having him in your corner,
Yeah.
Having Velvet Blue Music, and it's like an iconic, independent label in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Just having him in your corner, like, on social media, posting, like, all right, stream and dream, everybody. He does it for all of his artists. He's just so encouraging. And
Yeah.
I feel like he has a lot of respect. I was actually really nervous. I think it was Slow Parade, because I've been used to doing more kind of different, like the sci-fi Songs for Late at Night, or Lima Verth, which was obviously like, I don't know, Quest Rock or something.
Yeah, right.
And then Slow Parade, I was like, is this like super normal? Is he gonna like be okay with this? But my goal had been to make it super classic sounding, and he really he loved that.
Oh, yeah.
That a lot.
He sent an early copy to me. He knew
Oh.
I think he knew I was going to freak out.
Yay.
He's like, whatever you're doing, pick an evening, stop,
Aww.
put this on. And he was
That's
right.
so cool.
Knocked me out.
Where did the time go? Oh, I used to watch it slow, 'cause I watched it
Thanks, Gileah. You can find all kinds of info about Gileah's music at gileah.com. That's GILEAH.com. And you're going to want to click through to her Bandcamp store. Get her music into your life. Runout Groove is coming, and that means it's time to go. If you dig the show, please subscribe and spread the word. Also, please leave us a review and a rating at Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to our email list at truetunes.com. Follow us on Facebook at TrueTunesNow, and find and follow our weekly Spotify Gallery Stage mixtape. You can find me on Twitter at John J. Thompson and on Instagram at TheOnlyJJT and at TrueTunesMusic. And you can support the show through our patreon.com/TrueTunes community or via a one-time tip linked on the show notes page. Tell your friends about the show, post it on your socials, and let us know what you think. Thanks.
True Tunes at 45 RPM is produced by John J. Thompson and Bruce A. Brown for Gyroscope Productions and is intended for the private use of our listening audience. The contents are protected by US copyright law and are the intellectual property of Gyroscope Productions, with the exception of songs or clips that are from previously copywritten materials. Everything on this episode is used by permission or under fair use provisions. Thanks for listening. Cheers. We'll see you next time.